Teenage memories. Some of the best times you will ever have. Being with friends, doing crazy things, expanding your boundaries. Sounds great, right? It would be a shame if something stops you from making the most out of these valuable years. Learning to study at 4 times the speed is such a useful skill to have, because not only will you get better grades and a better university, but you will also free up so much time in the most memorable years of your life. So if you don't know where to start, how to study, or you just want to get better, then this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's take a look at how you should structure your study schedule for an exam. Whenever you have a big exam coming up, you must always have a long-term plan, because a good plan means you'll be more effective, and being effective means you'll be saving time and doing less unnecessary stuff. So a long-term plan tells you when you're going to start studying, how many days you're going to spend for each subject, and what your arrangement of the subjects will look like. So it's kind of like zooming out and looking at your schedule from a big picture perspective without worrying about how you're going to study each subject. If you don't have a long-term plan, you will start studying everything at the last minute and you will start cramming. So let's say you have a big important exam coming up. You have 3 subjects, subject A, B, and C, and they're all one day after the other. Here's what a long-term plan would look like. So I study subject A for 2 days, B for 2 days, C for 2 days. I repeat the whole cycle again before having my exam. You may be asking why I would want to study the same subject twice. That's a good question. So the first time I aim to understand about 80% of the subject, I do it twice because I want to give myself some time to forget what I've learned earlier. So whatever I've learned from the first cycle, I give myself a few days to forget, and then I recall it again in the second cycle. And when I recall it again, it will actually strengthen my memory. I will be able to remember it for a longer period of time, and I will have a much deeper understanding of the subject. So the first thing I do in the second study cycle is I whip out a few past paper questions and I try to do them. This means that I will have to recall what I learned in the first cycle, and when I do recall it, it will be permanently stored in my brain. You may also be asking why it is ordered this way. While there is no scientific evidence that this is the best way to order your studies, I feel like it just makes the most sense. I always start with my last subject first, so the whole thing is in a reverse order. This means that I will get to end with my first subject and take the exam right after, so the things that I've learned stays inside my head. Hold up. You may be asking, this video is about how to study in half the time. Why is this guy telling me to study for multiple days? Doesn't that mean more studying? The first thing you do if you want to study effectively is you start early. This gives you more time for spaced repetition, active recall, and a bunch of other techniques. So just by extending your studying time frame, you can already double your results. Sure, it means studying over a longer period of days, but it also means less intensity per day. So you're not going to be studying for hours and hours every single day. By spreading your revision into more days, you will have a much more chill and relaxed approach, so you won't be stressing much before your exams. So anyways, now that you have your long-term plan, let's see how you can actually cut down your study time in half and speed through revision like a god. So first of all, you're going to be focusing mainly on doing past papers and practice questions. Doing practice questions is one of the best ways to study because you're actually using your brain to recall the information, unlike just reading your notes or highlighting your textbook. Instead of studying first and then doing practice questions, you will jump to practice questions straight away. Yes, you will struggle, but that struggle is the feeling of learning. Plus, when you do practice questions, you're going to be learning exactly what is tested. Second of all, your game plan will be to prioritize. So this means that you will be tackling your weakest chapters one by one. That's basically all you're doing. So if you don't know your weak chapters yet, just start off by doing a general past papers with every chapter in it. Once you have checked your answers, reflect at every question that you've done and list down the topics you are least confident in. Once you know your weak chapters, you'll be doing only topic questions. The first questions that you do will feel extremely tough, and you probably won't have a single clue on how to do it. If you have an uncomfortable feeling, good. You're doing the right thing. These are the exact questions you want to be spending time on, because once you're able to get rid of that feeling, which you will, it means that you have just learned so much more. So just push through the feeling and you will learn extremely rapidly. Now you probably won't be able to answer the first few questions for your weak topics. So This is where you should study the mark scheme religiously. Try to understand exactly what the question is about, how the mark scheme arrived to that answer. Why did they use this equation? Why not use that other equation? You can also look at YouTube videos of people doing your topic so you can look at it from another perspective. So for the first few questions, study the model answers in a way that will allow you to produce the same results if you come across a similar question. Now that you have studied the model answers rigorously, you will only need a few questions to master the entire topic. So do a few topic questions and you will be amazed at how quickly you learn. Once you feel at least average or above average for all topics, now is the time to start doing general practice papers. But to make it 10 times more effective, we're gonna split each paper into 2 phases. Phase 1 is doing the questions and phase 2 is reflection. So here's how to do the questions as fast as possible. Rule number 1, skip easy questions. If you're more than 80% confident that you know the answer or you at least know how to get to the answer, then don't waste your time writing. Just walk yourself through the answer or through the process which would lead to the answer and skip the question. You only waste your time writing if the question is worthy. Rule number 2, use bullet points and keywords. Oftentimes, the examiner is just looking for 1 or 2 keywords. So even if you write an entire paragraph that is logically correct, if you don't have those keywords, then you're not getting any points. So for example, you're practicing and you come across a 4-point practice question. Instead of writing 4 full sentences, what you're gonna do is have 4 bullet points and have a keyword or 2 for each one. This is much faster, more efficient, and more clear. And don't even bother about having nice handwriting because you're much faster without it. Now that you've done the questions very quickly, let's look at phase 2, reflection. This is an extremely important phase that many people actually skip. It is the phase where you grow and get smarter. So first of all, you are gonna check your answers. For the easy questions which you have skipped, just take a quick look at the mark scheme and see if it matches what you have mentally walked through earlier. For every correct answer that you get, look at the mark scheme to see if there's a better way of reaching that answer. Be honest to yourself whether it's a fluke that you got it correct or you really knew what was going on. If you feel like you just got lucky and you're not totally sure how you reached that answer, then I want you to treat as if you got that question wrong. Now for every question that you get wrong, ask yourself these prompts. Spend time with the question and think deeply about what went wrong. If you feel like you still have no idea what's going on, then that's a sign you have to go back to doing topic questions. But if you're very sure that this is just a one-time mistake that you can learn from, then learn from it. Do not repeat the same mistake again. Notice how I'm choosing quality over quantity here. So I'm not just doing endless practice questions until 4 AM without having a clear goal. So you do a few papers using these 2 phases and boom, you just got a top score without stressing one bit.